WWL Louisiana News at 5 begins with breaking news.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Sharice Gibson. Several members of the community are gathering on Bourbon Street right now to remember the victims of the New Year's attack.
And I'm Katie Moore. Dominic Miranda from our sister station WTHR in Indianapolis is joining us live now from Bourbon Street. A very somber scene there with more on that. Dominic.
Yes, thank you. It is a somber and sad scene here at the corner of Bourbon and Canal Street, right at the beginning of Bourbon Street. Families of those who lost their lives on hand, saying prayers, paying respects, a large crowd on hand, flowers, as you can see, many different ways, paying respects. It's a sad scene. It's one where we've seen folks come together and share in this picking up the pieces process after a tragedy such as this. People we spoke with throughout the day have expressed their respect and how this city can be resilient and come together. It's been a really powerful scene throughout the day, but of course this, the crux of that situation. And it's really interesting to see. We'll just have you take a live look here.
He was from Gretna, that's right. So you're locals. I mean, I can't even imagine what you're going through right now. How have you been holding up? I mean, how are you even walking and coming to Bourbon Street? I mean, this must have been incredibly emotional for you.
I mean, it's clear we have a huge family, a huge support system. That's all that we have left right now. That's all that we have to get through this is each other. And we just are showing up for each other. That's all. That's it. I mean, there's nothing else.
Can you tell us a little bit about Hubert? What type of person was he?
Selfless, kind, hilarious, genuine.
He was out enjoying New Year's with his friends.
He was. We're gonna put her.
Can you just tell us, are you his big sister? You're his big sister. Are you his father?
Yes.
I'm so sorry for your loss. So you're
first GoPro showed up here in the last.
As you can see, a very powerful scene here on Bourbon Street as family members come back to where loved ones were lost. It's certainly not an easy thing to take part in, but certainly part of the closure process, and that's what we've seen here throughout the day. Remembrance, sadness, but picking up the pieces and moving forward in the wake of a senseless, heinous tragedy. We'll, of course, have much more for you on WWL Louisiana as the day progresses. For now, though, we'll send it back to you.
Well, just a quick question for you. We saw that there was a family that was out there obviously mourning the loss of their loved one. We couldn't necessarily hear who that family was. Can you repeat whose parents that was, or who was that?
We were unsure what family members that exactly was of the victim, who that was. We just know that they were walking right as we came here this afternoon. They were walking this way towards us, a group of people, police officers, media standing by, following several family members, not just the people you saw there on your screen, as they paid their respects. So obviously a very difficult situation. We'll try to learn more information and bring that to you.
What we could hear is that it was a sister and a father of one of those victims. Just a tragic scene all the way around, once again, as people continue to mourn. Thank you, Dominic, for your report.
And the White House did announce that President Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden will visit New Orleans Monday. The White House says the President and First Lady will grieve with the families and community members impacted by the attack and meet with officials. The President also says he has spoken on the phone with some of the victims' families. The White House has not said what time the President will arrive in town.
Today we are learning about the 11th victim who died in the New Year's Bourbon Street attack. Our partners at WBRZ in Baton Rouge identified him as Elliot Wilkinson, a South Louisiana native. They report a high school friend says he went to Fontainebleau High with Wilkinson in Mandeville and described him as having a good personality and someone who would take anyone in and help out no matter what.
And tonight we are remembering the numerous families like you just saw there and friends of the victims who lost their lives on New Year's morning.
Yeah, Meg Ferris found out about one more of those victims from Baton Rouge, and she's joining us live from the French Quarter herself with the latest on that. Meg?
Yes, Katie and Charisse, just hours ago, the tight-knit Episcopal school community of Baton Rouge all came together for the funeral of Kareem Badawi. Now, the father of his best friend was just too emotional to go on camera, but he told us what an extraordinary young man Kareem was. But tonight, his former football coach from Episcopal is telling us all of his thoughts about Kareem. Friday, a community heartbroken by the sudden loss of a young man said goodbye in disbelief. Kareem Badawi was a freshman at the University of Alabama. He went there with Ethan Ott, his best friend and football teammate from Episcopal High in Baton Rouge. They were roommates, pledged Sigma Chi together, and in their first semester made 4.0s together. Kareem loved the gym. Their coach, Travis Bourgeois, says he also loved people.
Why innocent people, have to suffer? Especially a guy like Kareem was well liked, not a hurtful bone in his body. He's a very just kind, gentle guy, and well liked. People went to Kareem because he was a positive guy.
New Year's Eve night, a bunch of 2024 graduates from Episcopal decided to celebrate together, reunite, and share stories of their first semester in college. At times, the crews got separated. At 3:16 a.m., Ethan told Kareem, "We're headed your way to Bourbon Street." Then a terrorist ended the promising life of a young man who already had a job offer in engineering.
He just did what you told him to do, and he's the type of kid, you tell him to do something, you can turn your back because you know it's going to get done.
Against his father's liking, Ethan and a whole bunch of the guys in solidarity with Kareem got tattoos. They simply read KB 1125. Ethan told his dad, "Now I've got Kareem with me forever." Coach is reminding his young men to support each other.
You can't handle this on your own. An adult cannot handle this on his own. You have to lean on each other. You got to lean on our community, teachers, parents, friends.
Another classmate at Kareem's side that night was former Episcopal baseball player Parker Verdreen. He goes to school at Ole Miss. He's in the ICU now. His mother posted today she is hopeful he will recover.
I've been coaching for 30 years, and there's nothing in the coaching manual that tells me how to handle this situation or tells anybody how to handle a situation like this.
Yesterday, Episcopal High had a memorial service, a closed memorial service for Kareem at the school, and I'm told that the chapel was absolutely overflowing with double its capacity. Reporting live from the French Quarter, Meg Farris, WWL, Louisiana.
Oh, Meg, thanks so much. And the Orleans Parish Coroner just released a list of most of the victims who were killed in Wednesday's attack. They've identified most of them. We've heard about a number of them already. They are Andrew Dolphin, 26, from Montgomery, Alabama. Kareem Badawi, as Meg just mentioned, he was 23 and he's from Baton Rouge. Brandon Taylor was 43 and he's from Harvey. Hubert Gothrow, 21, is from Gretna. I believe it was his parents out there on Bourbon Street just a few moments ago.
Yes.
Matthew Tenedorio was 25. He was from Picayune, Mississippi. Nikaira Dido, 18 years old. She was from Gulfport, Mississippi. And Nicole Perez was a young mother, 27, from Metairie.
Reggie Hunter, a father of two, 37 years old from Prairieville, Louisiana. Martin Besh, 27 years old from New York, New York. Terrence Kennedy, 63 years old from right here in New Orleans. Elliot Wilkinson is 40 years old from Slidell, Louisiana. William DeMaio, 25 from Holmdel, New Jersey. And also there is a British citizen, which they're temporarily withholding per the request of the family. And there's also an unknown young woman. They report this as a black female. They're attempting to identify this victim.
Now, the family of one of the other victims, Tiger Besh, continues to mourn their loss. Tiger's brother, Jack Besh, says Tiger was showing his best friend around New Orleans when the attack happened. Now, the coroner identified him as from New York because that's where he lives now, but he definitely has Louisiana ties. Jack says losing his brother had been one of the hardest days of his life.
My dad and my mom got to be there with him before we got there, put us on a FaceTime call with him. He was obviously couldn't respond to any of us, but he could hear us. I truly believe he could hear us. His eyes were closed and he was on a machine, but I know he could hear us. God kept his heartbeat beating for a reason. I believe it was so that me and my family could tell him goodbye.
Stories just get more and more tragic and heartbreaking, and Jack says his brother was his best friend, a role model, and someone he looked up to. The FBI confirmed this morning that they are back out at a home in Houston, Texas, connected to the Bourbon Street terror attack. The FBI confirmed that precursor chemicals were found at the home of Shamsuddin Jabbar. The FBI in Houston did not elaborate on what was found, but they referred questions to the FBI in New Orleans, which is the lead investigating agency. The FBI says Jabbar placed ice chests in the French Quarter that contained improvised explosive devices. They're now working to figure out how he created them. FBI also trying to figure out how Jabbar became radicalized.
Investigators say he released several videos declaring his support for ISIS. Now, this was news that was shocking to his own family, this including his own brother, who says he couldn't believe it when he found out Jabbar was the suspect in the attack.
I just dropped my phone and crawled into a corner somewhere and started crying. I'm still shocked by the whole thing. It still doesn't seem like it actually happened.
Core Realty, I just want to say hello.
During an interview, Jabbar's brother says they were not close and only saw each other a few times a year, but described Jabbar as kind, caring, and compassionate. He says he recently noticed Jabbar becoming more religious, but he saw no evidence of extremism.
He grew out his beard and he became more modest in his dressing. Nobody's seen anything like this coming.
He added that his actions were completely out of character and they're also not any type of representation of what it means to be Muslim.